Thank you for choosing our channel. Today we want to look at gradient of a straight line. For example, we are given a question here that a line passes through points 1, 6 and 3, 4. Find the gradient of the line. From coordinates, we learned that the points are always expressed in the form of x, y. So 1, 6, this is the value of x and this is the value of y. And 3, 4, this is also the value of x and this is the value of y. So we can call this one our x1 and y1, and this one you can call x2 and y2. So gradient, therefore, is the change in y over the change in x. So change in y means that you get the difference y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And the value of our y2 here is 4, and the value of our y1 here is 6. And then the value of our x2 is 3, and the value of our x1 is 1. Therefore, 4 minus 6 will be negative 2 over 2, and therefore the gradient will be negative 1. So gradient simply is the change in y over the change in x. So if a line passes through point negative 1, 3 and point 0, 7, we can as well go ahead to find the gradient. So gradient is therefore change in y over change in x, and the change in y will be y2, which is 7, minus y1, which is 3, over x2, which is 0, minus x1, which is negative 1. And therefore that is 4 over 1, and therefore the gradient is 4. So in this case our gradient is negative 1, in this case our gradient is 4. So the gradient does not necessarily have to be a whole number. The gradient can be a fraction. If a line passes through point 11, 12 and point 6, 5, if we take this one to be our x1, this is our x1, this is our y1, and this is our x2, and this is y2. So gradient will be change in y over change in x, which is 5 minus 12 over 6 minus 11, and that is negative 7 over negative 5, and that is 7 over 5. So that is the gradient. So the gradient can be left as a fraction, 7 over 5, or you can write it as 1 and 2 over 5. So that is the gradient of a line. So gradient does not necessarily have to be a whole number. It can be a fraction or it can be a whole number. So that is how we find the gradient of a straight line.